Episode 8 of The Chosen Season 5 is not merely the final chapter of a season, it is a spiritual and emotional crescendo that echoes long after the final frame. From its opening moments, there is a palpable weight that hangs in the air. It's the weight of approaching destiny, of friendships stretched to their limits, of hearts breaking slowly under the pressure of obedience and love. This episode does not rush. It lingers in silence, it breathes in discomfort, and in doing so, it creates one of the most powerful, soul-stirring hours of television this series has ever delivered. We begin with the disciples, whose emotional fragmentation is now impossible to ignore. They are anxious, divided, afraid. The closeness they once shared has been replaced by tension and unease. Peter is no longer the confident leader he once was. There's something fractured in him now, an undercurrent of dread that creeps into every word, every decision he makes. His faith is intact, but his sense of control is slipping. And we see that in his eyes, Jesus, in this episode, is quieter than usual. There are fewer grand moments, fewer teachings, fewer crowds. Instead, there is solitude, contemplation, stillness. And in that stillness, we see the depth of his humanity. We see exhaustion, we see sorrow. We see the quiet preparation of a man who knows what's coming, who feels the sting of every goodbye before it's even spoken. His scenes are laced with a gentle gravity, especially his intimate conversation with Mary Magdalene, a moment of peace in the middle of an approaching storm. Their exchange is not dramatic, but it is filled with unspoken history and love. It's not about miracles, it's about presence, about being seen and understood when words fail. Judas, meanwhile, begins to drift further from the core. What once appeared as enthusiasm or curiosity is now replaced by a subtle coldness, a mental distance that becomes more unsettling with each scene. The camera watches him carefully, never overtly condemning him, but always reminding us that something isn't right. His motivations remain murky, but what's clear is that his heart is shifting. There's resentment there, perhaps confusion, perhaps ambition disguised as disillusionment. It's not that he's evil, it's that he's lost. And in that loss, he begins. There's a particularly painful scene where the disciples argue about their place in the movement, about Jesus' intentions, and about their own personal ambitions. It's a mirror to the audience, a reminder that even those who walked with Jesus struggled to understand him. The show doesn't hide their flaws. Instead, it allows them to be human, stubborn, frightened, self-important. And because of that, their eventual transformation will mean so much more. This episode gives them space to fail, to doubt, to disagree, and that honesty is what gives this story its spiritual power. Visually, the episode is hauntingly beautiful. The lighting shifts from soft golden tones to stark shadows as the episode progresses. The symbolism is deliberate. Light is receding, night is approaching, and with it comes betrayal, fear, and blood. The cinematography allows space for silence, for breath, for prayer. One long, uninterrupted shot of Jesus standing alone by the fire as his disciples sleep around him is both peaceful and devastating. You know what's coming. You can feel the storm behind his calm expression. The final scenes of the episode bring everything to a boil. There is no loud confrontation, no dramatic musical cue, just a quiet, deliberate turning of the page in the greatest story ever told. The foreshadowing of betrayal is thick in the air. A moment, barely a glance between Jesus and Judas becomes a thunderclap. The audience is left in stunned silence, not because something explosive has happened, but because something irreversible is beginning. The betrayal hasn't come yet, but its presence is already felt in every breath, and when the credits roll, they do so not with closure, but with invitation to reflect, to pray, to examine our own hearts. The brilliance of this episode is not just in what it shows, but in what it awakens. It holds a mirror to the soul. Who are we when following becomes costly? Who are we when the light fades? Who are we when the cross appears on the horizon? This is not just a television episode. It is a sacred space carved out by artists who understand that storytelling is more than entertainment. It is ministry. Episode 8 is a masterpiece of restraint, of emotion, of conviction. It doesn't rely on CGI or cliffhangers. It relies on truth, on history, on the weight of prophecy fulfilled. It will break your heart, and somehow it will also give you hope. As Season 5 closes, we are left on holy ground. Everything is about to change, and The Chosen has never felt more real, more urgent, or more necessary.